Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Juan. I'm the Yarn Addict, hence the name Juan the Yarn Addict, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys for stopping by to check out my video today. This is a yarn and crochet channel where we talk about all things yarn and all things crochet, so if that interests you, please sit back and watch this video because today, my friends, I offer you another session of whipping it with Juan. So, today, this is what I have on the hook. So, it's got all kinds of things happening with this. This is that yarn that has 4 different kinds of yarn in one skein. You have what I think would be the equivalent of Bernat blanket. And I don't know what the name of this would be, but it's kind of like the homespun yarn, this here. And then there's this eyelashy type yarn. It's very fuzzy. See it? And then there's some velvet type yarn in here as well. Can I find any? I'm not so sure. Yes, you can barely see it, but it's like velvet. Velvet, Bernat blanket, the homespun situation, and then this eyelash type yarn. It's called Bernat Casa. So I used 2 skeins so far for this project. So this is where I'm at. I started it last night on the Zoom call with my yarn addicts. Love each and every one of them. And so while I was working it, the ball band kind of fell apart and it turned into a big puddle of barf. And so I had to stop working on it. I had to trim it, pull it apart, rewind it, and yeah, so 2 skeins. All right, and so now that I'm done the 2 skeins of black, which I believe is, what's the colorway called? It's called Gray Shade. So 2 skeins of the gray shade, and this blue, look at this, leakers. Both leakers. So these 2 are called Mineral Blue, which I'm gonna put on the hook next, these 2. And then I'm going to finish it with this skein of Bernat Casa, and this is the colorway Tawny Brown. So, yeah. That's what I had. And by the way, all of this was gifted to me in Happy Mail, so I just figured, why not work with it? Ease my way into the fluffier, fuzzier yarns, for lack of better words. The hook I'm using is the Prim hook. It's letter L. It's the suggested hook size for this yarn. Let me just make sure. Yep, 8mm US L. This is a super bulky number 6 yarn, and it's got different thicknesses, so I think they're just going with the widest parts of the yarn, because there are other parts here that 5, so. And because I don't want the yarn barf, what I'm doing is I'm cracking the skein open like this, and I'm working from the outside in, just to put my mind at ease, because it can be very stressful working with these kinds of yarns that have all of the textures. It gets caught, it gets tangled, look at this. I mean, I love the concept, but it can be very messy when it's not worked right. So, actually, I just remembered. Let me re-angle this camera so you can watch me crochet and talk at the same time. So just give me 1 second, okay? Okay, perfect. All right, so let me just back up a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to tie in this next colorway here. I should trim this, because it's not like I'm going to be able to sew it in. I mean, I could, but it's more aggravation than what it's worth, if I'm being honest. Okay, here we go. So, this is interesting. I will tell you, I don't know why I wasn't working with these kinds of yarns before. Now that I am, I'm looking back and I'm like, what? I mean, there's nothing wrong with working with these fluffier yarns. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. But now, I mean, I've had a chance to work with it. It's not too bad. It really isn't. And I think the one setback is, and I think this is why, I love looking at stitch definition, and these fluffier yarns, I mean, it's hidden. You can't see. You can't see the stitches. You just see what you see, you know? So I think that's why, honestly. But it feels good to work with, if I'm being honest. Like, I like how it feels going, you know, across my hands and everything, which is nice. Will I work with these yarns again? Believe it or not, probably. Like, I know that's an unexpected response, but some things don't really need to have stitch definition. See? It's called growth, friends. We're growing. You know? So, I'm at that awkward size here where it keeps slipping, but that's okay. And, yeah, for some reason, my go-to with this kind of yarn was the granny square. I mean, could you imagine doing single crochets with this? I can't imagine. It's just too textured. And I know many people use these kinds of yarns for many things, and I think it takes practice, you know? So, as experienced as I am, I'm not very experienced with working with these kinds of yarns, but for this kind of pattern to do a granny square, it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm enjoying myself doing this, honestly. I think it's a lot of fun. But please don't give me headaches. Please, just for once. I mean, it is discontinued yarn, I think, but there are places where you can find it. So, if you're interested in this kind of yarn, I believe, is it Mary Maxim? Mary Maxim, or I think. I'm tangled already. I'm tangled already, friends. Okay. I'm not giving up. I'm going to give the yarn some grace, right? The yarn needs grace. It's going to get it. And besides, I do like some parts of this yarn. The brunette blanket part of it is good, and then also this really, really fluffy part. This is fun to work with. I don't know why I haven't worked with this sooner. I probably dismissed it because of the stitch definition, if I'm being honest. But now that I've worked with it, I mean, it creates like this semi-solid situation, and it's really soft. Okay. You got me. But yeah. So, yet another WIP, right? So, I talked about in previous sessions how I was trying to limit how many WIPs I was starting. But you know what? As long as I have empty baskets, I'm like, why not, right? So I have this one that recently got started, right, as of last night. And then, you remember I was gifted pink fuzzy yarn as a challenge. So I've decided to run that with DK weight yarn, and hopefully, you know, I'm able to get some good texture from running those two yarns together. I'll have that come up in another session of WIP'n It with Juan. But I was so moved by how nice this worked up, you know, after the yarn barf. I said, you know, I'm going to see this to the end because this is working up very quickly. I mean, it's an 8mm hook, but the texture is a lot of fun to work with. You don't get tired of working with this yarn because before you know it, it changes. So, yeah. It is a challenge to work with, though, just because of, you know, what I said. But, yeah. Anyway, I did back-to-back Zoom calls, which was a lot of fun. I got to meet more new folks, which is great. The best part of this Yarny community is hearing all of the stories and learning about new people, whether it's through a live Zoom call or through email messages. You know, I'm always intrigued by everyone's story because everyone has one. Everyone has a story, you know, myself included. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to share my story with you guys. So while meeting people on a Zoom call for the first time was fun, it also gave me an opportunity to hear others and their stories, which was amazing. So, and it is one of the benefits of membership to my channel. We have weekly Zoom calls. So if that is something you're interested in, join us. We'd love to have you. And, you know, I do other things in addition that has nothing to do with the membership. So for instance, I do Facebook pop-up lives. So I don't really schedule them. It's just when the mood strikes, I sit in front of the camera, I turn it on, and I meet with the folks on Facebook. So more specifically, the ones that are on my fan page as well as in my Facebook group. I just sit there. We're very chill. We're very relaxed. I like to sit in the other room while I do that and just have a conversation and enjoy each other's company, you know. So that was something that I thought of at the last minute. I'm like, you know what? This Facebook group is awesome. You know, I can just not be on and just be completely relaxed and talk about all the things, yarn, crochet, and some non-yarn and non-crochet related, you know. And I just felt more comfortable doing it in that arena than this, just because, you know, the equipment and all the things. So like when I'm on the Facebook Live, I literally do it on my phone. I carry it around and all. So whereas you guys are on a stand and all the things are plugged in. So yeah, if you're interested in that, feel free to jump over to my Facebook. I don't really use Facebook, by the way. So my personal account for all of the requests, I mean, I see them all in there. I don't really do Facebook. So, but I do frequent the fan page, and I do obviously participate, and I'm very active in the Facebook group. My group is private, and I think that's what I like most about it. It may be a little hard to believe, but for the most part, I am a private person. And so, like, I don't go on Facebook like that anymore. And I find it to be very peaceful. Just letting go of it, you know? It's so nice. Anyway, so within the last couple of days, I was actually talking to everybody about some ideas that I had, you know. So I know I had previously mentioned starting a cowl, like a crochet along, and doing an all the things throw and the wancho poncho. I have some details surrounding that, which I will announce at a later time. Whoops. I will announce that later on, just because there's more details unfolding. So be on the lookout for that information regarding the cowl that we're supposed to be doing starting in April. I do have some updates, and they're very important if you're interested. But I do want to also say that there are a lot of people doing crochet alongs right now. And so what I would say about all of that is try not to put too much on your plate. It's exactly what my thought process is. I think for me, I'm considering pushing my cow back because it's supposed to start April the 6th. So I'm thinking about pushing it back into May, possibly May, because everyone else is doing a cow right now. And I don't want to say everyone else. I mean, that's a blanket statement, but there are a lot of channels doing crochet alongs right now. And I don't want mine to get lost in the mix. So maybe I can start mine when other crochet alongs are ending or just about to wrap up, so that, you know, there's some interest there for those who want to get into another crochet along right after. So stay tuned for that. And I'm super excited to share that information with you guys once that does finalize, you know, those details. But see, this is the part that this velvet part, I mean, it is so fragile. Like, I feel like it's gonna rip if I work it the wrong way, you know? The velvet yarn does feel nice across the fingers. I will give it that. So that's cool. But back to these WIPs. Like, the star blanket, I can't wait for you guys to see that, because I can't believe how fast I worked that blanket up. It hasn't even been a week yet. And it's big. And mind you, I mean, I work all day long. I record videos on other things. I take care of Mom. And somehow I still found the time to work on that blanket. And it works up very quickly. Like, once you figure out the formula, and once you figure out, like, okay, it's every 3 rows that you're pinching those stitches together to create the ridges there. Once you figure out which color that falls on, you'll know, like, all right, it's that color, that's the color I pinch on. And so it was super fun to work. I'm almost finished, actually, which is nice. And anything granny square related, like, or granny stitch, I mean, I'm a machine. I just love it so much. That, the corner to corner, the stitches where you have to go into every stitch, I really enjoy those too, so long as it's not like the popcorn stitch or like the puff. Those yarn eater stitches, I mean, they're fun to work, but not repetitively, you know? So, yeah, I'm not so quick with those particular stitches, just because there's a lot of stitches going into the same stitch, if that makes any sense. But you give me any of the basic stitches, yeah. Especially the ones where you don't have to think. You can just go and go and go. You can carry on a conversation. You know, if I had another set of arms, I'd probably, you know, be online shopping while the other set of hands are just crocheting. It's so much fun. I tried to figure out why I love crocheting so much. Like, I am totally addicted to crochet, and I know you guys who are watching me can relate. It's just so much fun. You know, throwing things on the hook and choosing the yarns and seeing what works with what. It's just so much fun. What's not fun is when you have to frog some work, like you're frogging something that maybe you changed your mind on, and it doesn't frog properly. It gets caught, it gets stuck. You know, you have to pull out the scissors and perform surgery. I mean, that part of it is just not fun at all. So now I'm on, what part of this am I on? I'm on the homespun part. That's fun. I don't know what, does Bernat have homespun? I know Lion Brand does. And I know Michaels, they have their version. I don't know what Bernat's, what the name of the Bernat version is. Or do I have it completely wrong? Is Bernat the homespun? No, I think that's Lion Brand. I don't know. now that I'm working with it, because I was curious before. I said that on the channel. I said, you know what? I'm curious. I wonder how that works up. I'm thinking about buying some. I even told, I replied to an email. I had someone email me and say, or they asked, hey, what do you think about the homespun? And I said, I have no idea. I have never tried it, but I'm interested. So this might be my fix. And I mean, I don't want to say I'm not a fan, but there are other better yarns out there. I like how it comes across my fingers, all the ridges. I like that part, you know, but when I look at the work, I mean, you see it? Again, it's all about that stitch definition. I have to shake that when you work with these kinds of yarns. It's hard to shake though, you know? I don't know. All I know is for this blanket here, I'm using all 5 skeins that were sent to me. 2 black, 2 blue, and that brown and white one. Now, I mean, should they all go in one project? Probably not. But these are the 5 skeins that I have in my stash, period. This is it. Out of all my yarn, this is the only ones I have. And when I originally pulled it out for the Zoom call, the original idea was to make pillows, like couch pillows, fronts and backs. I was going to do 1 pillow per skein, so a front and a back, a front and a back. And since I have a living room and a family room, I was going to make pillows for both rooms. So, and I had 5 skeins, which would have made, let me see, 2, 4, I could have made, depending on the size, I could have made like 10 pillows. But knowing me, it would have been, bigger pillows. So probably 5 pillows. 1 ball, 1 pillow type thing. But I got to working with it. And after I spent all that time untangling the barf, I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep going. I'm on a roll here. I just need to get through it. And then once I got through it, I looked back and I said, you know what, I'm glad I kept going because I like the way this looks, like this. And this fuzzy stuff right here, this fuzzy part is so soft. It really is. So that's cool. I don't know where I'm going to put this blanket or what I'm going to do with it. But if I don't have a place in my house for it, I'm probably going to donate it to someone or somewhere. I mean, I like it. I'm enjoying this, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. All I know is I'm enjoying the experience of working with some very strange to me yarn. You know, I'm used to my worsted weight yarn, my 3, 4, 5. I like that. Super bulky 6 I work with. I enjoy super bulky 6, but it's got to be like I don't know, it's got to be like Bernat Blanket, it's got to be like Premier Fable, like, things that I can actually see when I crochet. This part that I'm working on right now, it's like I can't really see the stitches. I'm feeling for like where I'm supposed to put the hook, and just a hope and a prayer that it's going the way it should, which by all accounts, I mean, if it didn't go the way it should, it'll like come apart, I think. So anyway, I think I have a case of the WIPitis. I've had so much inspiration come across my channel lately. Like I'm watching all of the images that are being sent to me on Facebook and Instagram, and then the other channels, what they're working on has been such an inspiration to me. Even though I'm not, doing the same kinds of projects they are, just the fact that you know, everybody's being creative right now, I think is pretty awesome. So keep the creativity flowing, friends. It inspires people. So that is awesome. I get a lot of questions about this Red Heart Fruit Punch that like I'm in search of. So there is a vintage magazine that I've shown on the Zoom calls that I'd like to share with you guys while I crochet. I promise I'm not going on a tangent to where I'm going to stop. I just want to show you. It's right here. So I have this vintage magazine. It's McCall's. Okay. It's about 50 years old. And I have it in plastic. But I took it out because I wanted to show my viewers on the Zoom call these blankets. And I originally considered making this very blanket right here for Bag O' Day's auction, the rescue auction. And it reminds me of records, you know, from like the 70s and things. I don't know if you can see that. But I had already started a project. I already started it. And then it was a whole story. I'm going to put this down. It was a whole story. So let me tell you. So I did a blanket. I'm not going to say what it is because, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now why. Because I'm going back to the project. So I started the project and frogged it. Started it again and then frogged it. Because it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to come out. It needed to lay perfect. I mean, this is for Bag O' Day's. This is Bag O' Day's charity. And I want, when this blanket comes across her screen, I want people to know that I worked very hard on it. And that it's right, you know? So originally, I sat it to the side and I said, you know what? This isn't working. I can't do this. I can't. This is too hard. Yeah, even me. Too hard. And so, for weeks, it just sat in the corner, untouched. I was so upset with it. I was, you know, the yarn, I bought the yarn for it, you know, the whole thing. Anyway, I'm on the Zoom call. I'm showing all of my members this magazine. And I'm explaining to them that I wanted to do that. And then there's another one in there with like chevrons. But it's done in a way that like it turns out to where, okay, so it's strips of chevrons and then there's two different sizes and all the strips get borders and it's like, it's a join where you join as you go kind of a thing. Anyway, I'm telling them all the things about this project idea I have. And something inside me is like, no, Juan, this is not it. You can't do this and submit this for the rescue. Because it's just, it's not, no. The reason why that happened was because I remembered, excuse me, I remembered when Bag O' Day said in her videos how she spent so much time with some of the things that she was working on that she wasn't going to give up. Like, you know, even when things weren't laid out right, she would just keep ripping it out and starting over again to make sure that, you know, she did everything she could to get it right. And I remembered that. I remember her saying that while I was telling this whole thing to my Zoom folks. And so just in that instance, I said, you know what? I'm going back to that project. I'm not giving up. And I mean, listen, it might not be like the most grandiose design. I mean, but it's something that I wanted to do from the very beginning. And I think it'll do well. I think so. You know, if I really work hard at it and get it right, I think it could do well. And I really want to help raise money for the cause. So I'm going back to the project, friends. I'm going to put that magazine back in plastic. I'm going to go back to the yarn that I purchased for that project, and I'm going to work it. Now, I did disclose the project to my members, but I kind of want to keep it a secret only because I want you guys to just see it when she sees it. And I think that'll be cool. I'm excited for you guys to see it. So I got some pointers from my Zoom folks, and they've shown me some examples of what could have went wrong and how to fix it. So even me, who has a channel, who is sitting in front of you guys, you know, I get just as frustrated, and there are moments where I feel like I need to give up on this project and move on. You know, I just have to dust my pants off, get back up, and do it again. And so, you know, lesson learned. You know, don't give up. So, and I originally gave up, so this is me not giving up. I'm going back to that project. It's going to be tough getting it done in time, but I'm going to work very hard in doing that. And so that's another reason why I want to push back the cowl, because for me, working towards a project to help Bag O' Day's cause is a little more important than a cowl right now. So I'm going to work very hard on getting that done. And I encourage you guys, if you are creating a blanket for Bag O' Day's charity, to, you know, reach out if you're unsure about anything. You know, email me, email someone else that you know on another channel maybe, and just get some pointers instead of doing what I did, which was sit it in a corner and forget about it. You know, you frog it, leave it in piles. You know, I was disappointed in myself, but now I'm not, because I'm going to get back in there. And yeah, so there's that. I'm super excited. And then when I start my cowl, I just want to make sure that the timing is right, because viewers can get overwhelmed. I know I was when I was just a viewer before I had my channel. I wanted to participate in all the things, and I can't participate in everything. You know, we only have two hands. So just being considerate of other channels and the timing of projects and things. So plus it gives me a breather. I can sit here and just do this and talk to you guys about things and not have to worry about editing and all of that. So yeah, there were some questions that were dropped on the posts of the other Whip It With ones that I'd like to address. I can't really remember the names, but I do remember the questions. So one of the questions I got was, what kind of diabetic are you? Are you type 1 or type 2? And what kind of foods do you eat to maintain yourself? So I'm a type 2 diabetic. I take 1 shot a week, and it's changed. My condition has gotten better. I used to have to take insulin every day, and so now I am only doing it once a week. So yeah, type 2, I take the shot once a week. It's not insulin, but I take a shot once a week, and then I take pills twice a day for my diabetes. And then what do I do to maintain myself? So I eat clean. I think I said this in the other video. I'm not sure. I may have answered this question already. I apologize. But just in case I didn't, wanted to tell you guys. So another question came up. It wasn't a yarn related question. It was, how old were you when you learned when you started using sign language? So I learned sign language when I was 2. I learned how to sign before I knew how to talk. So I had a speech impediment that I guess raised some flags, you know. So the school, my mom sent me to school when I should have gone, which was at 5. And back then there weren't like tests and things like there are now. You know, you were 5, by September 1st, you went to school. And so they saw that I had speech issues, and so I had to see a speech therapist literally every day, because I couldn't really talk. I wasn't able to form full sentences. I mean, yeah. So anyway, now, years later, looking back, I wish that there was a way. I mean, we didn't have technology back then. I mean, and it wasn't that long ago. I'm talking about like the 80s. Maybe that is a long time. But back in the 80s, we didn't have the technology that we have now, you know? I didn't have an iPad to, keep up my time. I was in the backyard making mud pies, and I was outside staying out until the street lights went on. No cell phones, none of that. So it was a different time back then. So I didn't have what kids my age at that time had. And then, of course, my mom wasn't really exposed to much either, because back then things were different, What use did we have of a television if she couldn't hear it? We didn't have closed captioning back then. So, we had a radio. We may have had a television. I can't remember. I don't want to say we didn't have a television. I just know that my mom never watched television back then, because there was no way for her to know what they were saying on the television. So I didn't watch TV that I could remember. Maybe I did. I don't know. But again, things were a lot different back then than they are now. So this velvet yarn is coming through my fingers so smoothly. I love it. Anyway, today's St. Patty's Day. So happy St. Patty's Day to those of you guys who observe. I hope you guys have all the luck and all the things for all the days and all the people. I hope you find a 4-leaf clover. What was I going to say? So it's St. Patty's Day, right? So tonight we have a live with my mom. And so it's going to be, I put out a poll yesterday, over 700 responses, which thank you, by the way, to each and every one of you guys. I mean, it was all one-sided, basically. I mean, at this time right now, there was about 93% of the folks who took the poll said that they would like a story time with mom. A 7% swing said that they wanted to keep it as it is, which I fully understand. I understand both sides. I'm impartial. But I look at it like this. I spend Sundays with my mom. Apart from like doing videos like this or running errands or being on a Zoom call, my day is spent with her. And so, my lives for Sundays, could be without mom, but my mom likes being with me and I like being with her, And so, to the naysayers, I respect your decision, but also I would like you to respect mine. I want to be able to spend time with mom. And if that happens to be on a day where I do my live, then she comes. And a lot of my audience really enjoys having her there. So even if she's not the star of the show, she kind of is. She kind of is, It's one of those things where you don't have to talk and you're making an impact by just being there, So she will stay. And, if I lose viewers on the lives because of it, I respect the decision, Nobody can force your hand to watch something you don't want to watch, for whatever reason. So I respect the decisions. It's okay. I'm not offended if I don't have all the viewers come and see, I get it. So This yarn is working out beautifully. Who would have thought I would have said that about this yarn? It's so crazy. Like, I'm using my fingers to feel where the holes are. So I'm just working with it how I think it's supposed to be done. And it's working out so nice. I know you can find it on one of those sites. I said it earlier, I think Mary Maxim has this yarn available, but I don't think they have it in all the colorways. But if this is your jam, if you like working with all kinds of novelty yarns and things, I mean, it's nice for what it is, you know? And it works up very quickly. I have this one part right here that keeps falling out of the middle, and it gets caught on like all the other parts that I'm trying to like work with. So I'm stuffing it back in there. There. Now we should be good. For this kind of yarn, friends, I recommend, if you have some of this and you're going to work it, outside in. Please don't pull from the inside. I mean, I'm sure you can, but less stress if you work from the outside in. I'm just saying. I'm sure you know that. But it begs worth repeating. So, yeah. What else? So yeah, I have all the questions ready for Mom. She's a little nervous just because, you know, she's like, what if they don't like me? And typical things we all say because we're human, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. But I reassured her that, you know, I'm there, and if at any time she feels uncomfortable with it, then we'll just move on. It's no big deal, no pressure, no harm, no foul. But what sparked the idea was, on some of the lives, I think the last live, Mom really didn't have the iPad with her. She was crocheting a lot, and she really wasn't feeling well, which is why she didn't have the iPad. But you guys noticed that, and you're like, why are you ignoring her, Juan? You know, and all that. So I said, okay, well, maybe we could have her more up front and center, you know, and then Jaxie, she suggested, why don't you do a story time with Wilma? And so she explained, you know, what that would look like, you know, where we just listen to Ma tell stories in her own words. And I thought that was a phenomenal idea. I thought that was amazing because why not? You know, why not get to know the person who raised me and all that? So, special shout out to Jax. Thank you for suggesting. And I think that we're going to do it because I think it's a great idea. Actually, we are doing it. What am I talking about? It's happening. I did put the poll out yesterday. If the results were flipped, where like 90-something% of the people said, no, we want to keep it as is, then I would have done another post. Okay, well, Mom's still going to be with me on the live, but we will ixnay on the story time if that's not something that the majority of the people want. But that's not how it turned out, so that's good. I thought about putting us in St. Patty's Day gear and doing that whole thing, but Mom was like, we can do green, and I'm good with that. I'm like, okay, Mom. I went to Walmart today like I always do, and I bought myself a St. Patty's Day t-shirt. So it doesn't say, you know, Happy St. Patty's Day. It doesn't have any of that on there. I think it says today's your lucky day. Yeah, so they only had a few t-shirts left because everyone, like myself, waited until the last minute to get something. I procrastinate too much, if I'm being honest. I'm like, it'll be fine. There'll be something there for me. I get there, and there's only like a couple of t-shirts, and that's it. It's so crazy. Look at how that is working up. Look at that. Oh yeah, okay, because that's a new row. I was like, wait, something's up. But no, it's just how it worked out, my friends. And I'm still on this first ball. I'm on my third round of this. This is so cool. But yeah, I think if I do keep this, it's probably just going to be like a throw. It's not enough for a blanket, obviously, but it's going to make a nice little throw, you know, a statement piece, a conversation starter. Like, Juan, why did you put the blue after the black? And then why do you have the brown and white for the border? And my response is going to be, because that's what I had. No rhyme, no reason. Not everything has to be planned out. What I'm doing with my hands right now is the reason why I'm working with it. Because I just want something on the hook. I just want to be able to work up stitches and talk about all the things and just have a good time, you know? So, anyway. I'm looking forward to the live tonight. I also have all of the tickets ready. So, the back when the Cal finished, I mentioned that I wanted those who completed the Cal to send me pictures via email, and I was going to put their name in a drawing for a mystery box. And so I'm going to do 3 mystery boxes. One mystery box is for my Facebook. So in the email, you had to have mentioned Facebook, whether it was in the conversation or in the title. Facebook, squares, blankets, doesn't matter. That drawing's for that. And then on YouTube, I'm going to do a drawing for the square blanket and then a drawing for the blanket. And so I've written down all the names of all the submissions, and I have 3 piles I'm looking at. And there's some special shout outs that I would like to just put out there. Number 1, Arpita from India. I have someone from India following my channel. She's a member and all the things. Member of my channel. I'm sorry, she subscribed to my channel. She's not a member, but she participated in the Cal, and her blanket is absolutely beautiful. I'm like, wow, stunning. There's another one from Australia. I think I wrote her name down. I think it's Jeannie, or what is her name? Jeannie. She's from Australia. Her blanket was beautiful as well. I mean, all the blankets were beautiful. What am I talking about? The point I'm making is that people far and wide participated in this. I have an entry from South Africa. And who would have thunk my very first Cal, people would be interested in little old Juan. It's so cool. So I'm looking at all the pictures of all the entries. I have someone here who did 2 of each. 2 square blankets and 2, blankets. So they got 1 submission for each, entry. So 2 blankets, 2 entries, 2 square blankets, 2 square blanket entries, which was amazing. And then there was this lady who did 4. She made 4 blankets. 4, not squares, 4 of the blankets. She made 4 of them. And they were all different colorways. And I was just like, oh my stars. I struggled to get what I had done, let alone someone making 4. That was incredible. So, shout outs to you guys for all the work you put in for the project. It was amazing seeing it all. Anyway, I look forward to the drawing. These are mystery boxes. It's just a little thank you for participating. Going forward, I'm probably going to announce the prizes in the beginning and not towards the end. I wasn't sure if I was going to do prizes for the very first cal until after it already started. So going forward, I'm going to announce prizes in the beginning if there is one. You know, in some ways, I like to think that participating and enjoying the experience can be the prize, but some people like prizes, you know, prize. So, and I'm cool with that, but I'll announce it in the beginning going forward. So these mystery boxes, just little thank yous, and hopefully, you know, the gifts that are going to be sent to the winners are appreciated. So there's that. And after they receive them, I'll do a little video. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see. I'm being indecisive right now. I'm not sure what we're doing, because part of me wants to show you guys what they're getting, but then another part of me, you know, doesn't, because it's already done. I think like next time if I show the prizes in the beginning, it might motivate more people to participate. It's done, it's over with, so like why bother, kind of a thing. So I will be, I can share this part. I will be pulling some things out of my hank drawers here. So they're going to be getting some of the bougie yarns too in the mystery box that they receive. So that's super fun for them. Anyway, let me get through this corner very quickly. I hope you guys like this. Like, I am just sitting here talking, crocheting, and doing all the things. Catching up on my WIPs, because I do have a lot of them. My goal is to get through my WIPs. I don't think I'm ever going to get through my WIPs, because I keep finding new things I want to make. I can't help it. I also want to go on to Bag of Days channel and look for one of her latest blankets. She's been putting out chevrons like crazy. I'm like, I want to jump on one of those. So I'm going to see what she's got there and possibly do that. Yeah, I'm never going to get through my WIPs. I'm never going to sit here and tell you guys I have no WIPs. There's so much out there on the YT streets to do. Even when you think you're bored out of your mind, there's nothing to do. Trust me, there's tons of things you can jump on. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I may do some tutorial shopping after this video, who knows. So nice. Where are we at? Okay, so we are at 52 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap up this session. It's been so much fun. Look how much work I got done. Look at that, friends. See, it pays. This is the other side. Let me just open it up and show you guys all the things. Yeah, this is nice. It's different, you know. It's unplanned. It just happens the way it happens. Super nice. Okay. Well, my friends, I hope you liked this. If you did, give me a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Check to make sure you're still subscribed, because YT sometimes unsubscribes people for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, this is it for now. So until the next one, friends, take care. Bye, friends.